So finally, after 2 weeks, I am finally getting this review up. I think I really need to start picking up the slack. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is the sequel to Doctor Strange, which came out all the way back in 2016 and is like the billionth movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I have honestly lost track of how many films we've gotten from them. I'm just kind of rolling with the punches at this point. But this movie stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, and Xochitl Gomez, and in the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange meets America Chavez. She's a remarkable young woman with the ability to travel through the multiverse at will. But it soon becomes apparent that someone or something is coming for her, most likely for her power. But who could it be but Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch? And she needs America for her own nefarious needs. These events then force Strange on a crazy mind trip through the fabric of the multiverse where he'll face new threats, but must also protect America from her Scarlet pursuer. Also, it's not a spoiler that she's the villain. Anyone with a brain could have figured that out from the trailers. Plus, the movie's been out for about 2 weeks now. Sue me. Where the hell do I start with this one? Holy crap. Guys, I was really looking forward to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Ever since I found out that the man Sam Raimi was helming this film, it quickly became one of my most anticipated movies of 2022. Easily. Especially since the guy has been on an 8-year hiatus from superhero films. So I became really curious to see if whether or not Raimi could deliver on another Marvel property. And I don't even know why I questioned it because, holy crap, this movie was awesome. Everything about Multiverse of Madness just reeks of Sam Raimi. My man took this movie and just poured his stank all over it. I'll tell you what I mean in a minute, but first, Benedict Cumberbatch was great. It's safe to say at this point, he's great no matter what he's in. Just like Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, Benedict Cumberbatch is Dr. Stephen Strange. You know, the past few movies that he's been in, he's been this big certified badass, but here, he feels more vulnerable and human to me. Raimi has always had this uncanny act of just taking these larger-than-life characters and making them more relatable as people. We genuinely get to see Strange struggle through this film. He feels guilt and sadness. There's even a moment in the movie where someone confronts him about giving the time stone to Thanos. He just looks at the guy and goes, "There really was no other way. It was the only play that we had." It still doesn't take away from the fact that he's a certified badass. It's just, I kind of enjoyed the more human moments of his performance. Xochitl Gomez? She was also good. I honestly don't know much about America Chavez from the comics, so I can't really tell you guys if Marvel adapted her character 100% to a T or not. But from what I saw, I liked her enough. She has some pretty kick-ass moments in here, and I genuinely enjoyed her banter with Doctor Strange. I do have a slight problem with her that I'll get to in a minute, but first, let's talk about the show stealer that is Elizabeth Olsen. I've said it plenty of times before, and I'll say it one more time here. Do not fuck with the Scarlet Witch. She is legit scary in this movie. Ring reference and all. At this point in the MCU, Wanda is a tragic character. She has been through more torment and emotional damage than anyone thus far. And a lot of her motivation in this film stems from the events that took place in WandaVision. So you understand perfectly where she's coming from and what she's after. It makes it very easy for you to sympathize with her, and you know where she's coming from for most of the film. But it's the way that she's trying to go about accomplishing her goal. It kind of makes you side against her at one point. And she kills everyone in this movie. She is probably the most OP she has ever been, I swear. Elizabeth Olsen was great. She has definitely cemented herself in the hierarchy of MCU baddies for sure. You know, now that I've had 2 weeks to kind of process it, thinking back on it, I just love how unique this movie is. By MCU standards, visually, tone, and atmosphere-wise, this movie is very different from all the other Marvel movies that came before it. You know, I'll even go as far as to say this is Marvel's first true horror movie. And all of that has to do with the fact that Sam Raimi is at the helm of this thing. I mean, this man has got such a record. I mean, for the love of God, he made The Evil Dead, Drag Me to Hell. I mean, shit, he was even a producer on that Grudge remake from back in the late 2000s. The fact that Kevin Feige kind of let him cut loose and let him do what he wanted to do and still be able to fit this movie within the confines of the bigger Marvel universe is very impressive. Not a lot of directors get that kind of creative freedom under the Marvel banner because, let's face it guys, every MCU movie does have a very specific formula that needs to be followed. I mean, this movie feels very much like a Marvel film, but at the same time, it feels so much like a Sam Raimi film. You got all the horror imagery, campy dialogue, and crazy camera work that Sam is known for. And that's kind of what I meant when I said that Sam Raimi just wiped his ass with this film. I will say I do have a few gripes about the film because this movie is still not perfect. For starters, I feel like certain characters were just very underutilized. And if you think I'm talking about the Illuminati, no. I think they did their part, and that was to push the Scarlet Witch into the point of no return. And that's also kind of another problem I have. I'm genuinely talking about characters like Mordo, because the trailers for this film made it seem like Mordo was going to have this big, grand role throughout the film, and he's only in the movie for like 20 minutes. America Chavez, as cool as she is, just kind of ended up feeling like a plot device. She's just kind of there. This movie also has a few plot inconsistencies that make you feel like you missed something. I do love the concept of an evil Scarlet Witch, but I feel like they try to make her too evil at some points. I mean, yeah, they do establish that the Darkhold is messing with her, making her hands black and making her act in certain ways that she probably wouldn't act before. But she does so much unspeakable shit in this movie that by the time the movie's over, she just kind of feels irredeemable. It could just be me because I have a very distinct vision of who her character is inside the MCU. So I guess I just kind of missed my lovable Wanda Maximoff. Despite the problems I do have with this movie, I still enjoyed it. Guys, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness gave me one of the best Sam Raimi theater experiences I've ever had. I loved all the horror-esque undertones and the awesome heel turn that is the Scarlet Witch. Despite it feeling like she was being evil for the sake of being evil at some points, it was still a welcome change. Speaking of horror undertones, parents, you may want to think about not taking your kids to see this one. There's some shit in here that will probably traumatize the hell out of them forever. Neck snaps, zombie strange, and a creepy ass Ring reference. Need I say more? Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was an awesome matinee. Popcorn is a must-have. Alright, thank you guys so much for joining me on my review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And once again, I slacked behind. I know, be mad at me. Recently, I've been doing a lot of collaborations. I just started a playlist in my playlist section, which you guys can go check out if you want to. And I recently did another one, and I got another one scheduled for, well, I got two more scheduled for Thursday and this upcoming Saturday. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on in my life right now. I do have a screening for Firestarter tomorrow, so that'll be the next review that I put up on the channel. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're new. And as always, this is the Unbiased Movie Nerd. I'm saying peace, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, everybody.